Wayne, alcoholic. I'd like to thank Nasser for introducing me and thank Patty for inviting me to come and speak at the Marina Center. The Marina Center has a significant place in my life in Alcoholics Anonymous. I came out of Daniel Freeman, the Exodus program, and they used to drop us off here at night by the van load. Probably still do. And then I went to sober living right here in the neighborhood and over at Herbert House. And I was so lost that I would come over to the Marina Center, and it was the place where I got the real sense of the unconditional love and the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, that I felt safe in here. You know, I really didn't know what I was doing out in the world, but in here, you know, I saw people that I knew, and you know, we'd read chapter 5, good old chapter 5, and I would just kind of settle down, and I'd get to listen to speakers talk about alcoholism and talk about how alcoholism functioned in their lives. And I connected with a lot of those speakers, and people at Herbert House told me to go to 90 meetings in 90 days, and I did a lot of those 90 meetings here at the Marina Center, and this is where I learned about commitments, and I had the cookie commitment here for a year. So the Marina Center is really important to me, and I'm thrilled to be here. I came to on an airplane, and I had a young black female flight attendant standing over me, wagging her finger in my face, saying, "I'm having you arrested when we land in the United States." And I was flummoxed, you know. You're not talking about me, you're talking about the drummer. He's an alcoholic, he's an asshole. I can drink like a gentleman, I'm cool. She said, "No, I'm talking to you." She said, "Look what you've done." And I looked around the plane, and there was like a security zone around me of empty seats where people had moved away, and you know, women were holding their children, and men were angry, you know, and I said, "Wow." She said, "I've been telling you for hours about your language." Brock knows what I'm talking about. He saw me drunk on a plane once. And she said, "You're going to be arrested." And it was a moment. It was a gift. And it was an unasked for gift, and it was an undeserved gift. And it was a moment that I quit, that the fight was knocked out of me, that I couldn't carry on the pretense of the world according to Wayne anymore, that all the lies I had told all my friends about my sobriety were all going to be discovered when I landed and the police carted me off. And everything collapsed, and it collapsed on the inside. It's an inside collapse. And we talk about hitting bottom in Alcoholics Anonymous and its importance in the program of recovery, because we have to hit that bottom before we're willing to do the things that we have to do. I didn't want to see the things I had to see. I didn't want to hear about the things I needed to hear about. And I didn't want to go the places that I was going to have to go to learn what alcoholism is and how alcoholism functions in my life in the day I'm in, and that includes today. That includes right now, and I've been here for a minute or two, but I'm still an alcoholic with alcoholism. I'll have alcoholism as long as I'm alive. When I'm dead and buried, my alcoholism will be over with. But we say in this program of recovery that we can stay sober one day at a time based on the maintenance of our spiritual condition, so that surrender led me to the beginning of the acceptance of who I really was, that I was able to begin to accept my most devastating weakness and all its consequences. Because if I don't do that, I won't have any sobriety, I won't have any happiness. So when I landed in LA, and in fact she didn't have me arrested because I had to make a connecting flight, I called Bob Timmons up and I said, Bob, I'm a sick man. I'm sick and I have to go in the hospital. And Bob told me something that you may have heard if you've been around before, but it was the most welcoming thing that a man could say to me in my condition. He said, Wayne, we don't shoot the wounded. And as much as I deserved shooting, he didn't shoot me. And he said, I can help you. And he helped me. And I went into the hospital, and we talked a lot about alcoholism. We tried to define what is alcoholism. It's a mind-powered disease that functions in my life when I make myself the authority for my life, when I listen to the things my mind tells me. So I built a character, I built who I am, years and years and years, doing things my way. I built things on my ambition. I built myself on my selfishness, on my ability to outthink people, to outtalk them. And I built the character that I was, and that's what got me on that plane. And that's what got me to that hospital. And we talked a lot about alcoholism in the hospital and about the first step, about accepting. We admitted we were powerless, which is the first half of that first step. And admitted is maybe a nicer way to say accept. But I have to accept that. And when I accept that, who I am, I don't accept that in my mind. It's not an intellectual thing. It's down here. It's in my guts. That's who I am. I'm an alcoholic. And I'm in the second half of that first step. There's two parts in that. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, dash. And the second principle is our lives were unmanageable. I was pretty good with the unmanageable part. I'd been given that lip service for years. You know, oh yeah. But I complied with a lot of it, but I didn't accept anything. I complied when it was convenient for me to comply, but I didn't accept it. But when there's a collapse like that, that inside job, that bottom that's the inside collapse, there's nowhere else to go. And that's what I needed to reduce my ego. This is an ego. Dr. Harry Tebow, who is a friend of Alcoholics Anonymous and sat on the original board of directors of Alcoholics Anonymous, was a psychiatrist. And he studied how Alcoholics Anonymous worked. That psychiatry couldn't cure alcoholism, had no treatment that was successful for it. Medicine couldn't cure it. Religion couldn't cure it. But Alcoholics Anonymous seemed to be working. People were stopping drinking, getting better. And so he studied it. He said that alcoholics share a lot of the same characteristics. He called them the ego factors. And those are defiance, that no matter what you tell me, I'll defy you because I'm right. Omnipotence, I'm certainly right, I'm all there is. I am the entire world. Grandiosity, of course, I'm incredibly special and unique. And the fourth ego factor is, always being in a hurry. We talk about that being restless, irritable, and discontent. Wherever I'm driving, I can't wait to get there. Wherever I am, I don't want to be there. I want to be at the next place. The problem I always had with instant gratification was it took too long. So in the hospital, we started to take a look at the second step of coming to believe that there was a power greater than ourselves that could restore us to sanity or soundness of mind. Because if I keep going to my mind is a warped mind. It's a damaged mind, and that's the character I built. I built a character that says it's all right to steal from you, it's all right to lie to you, it's all right to abuse you, it's all right to be mean to you. And that's who I was. That's who I am. But with a power greater than me, I can change. And this is all about change. Because if I don't change, then all the things that I did wrong before in my past, I have to do them again. My past will be my future. And all the people I hurt, I'm going to go back and hurt them again. And I'll hurt them worse this time because I'm sober. And I'm cranky about it because I'm not treating my alcoholism. And I can only treat my alcoholism with a power greater than me. Because I have to put something else there besides me. See, I'm a power. I'm the power for my life. I make things happen. I decide things. I drive my car. I go places. I talk to people. That's the power I am. But I can't depend on that power. That power is a warp power from a warped mind. And my mind talks to me. And if I listen to it, I'm right back where I started. I'm back to my old tricks. And it doesn't matter if I'm drinking or sober. It's the same thing. So I couldn't get to this idea of something more important than me or something besides me. And there was a recovering alcoholic nun that came to visit us in the hospital, and I asked her what her idea of God was, and she said, well, for her it was a spirit that worked between people. And I borrowed her God. It was a reasonable idea, and that was enough. We talk about willingness in that second step, that it's essential. It's essential that I have an open mind. I have to keep my mind open to hear the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. If I close my mind, I'm back where I started. I'm back with what I brought here. If I can keep my mind open, then new information can come in. That'll be information that will teach me about the disease of alcoholism being a mind-powered disease. Otherwise, I'm back where I started. I realized that as a 9-year-old, I was interested in the big questions. You know, what happens when you die? Where do you go? What's beyond the universe? I think most 9-year-old boys, 8, 9, 10-year-olds start thinking about those things. And I had no religious training. My mother was a Catholic, and she sent me to the Catholic church, and I would go and I would do what they would do, you know. They would all kneel, so I would kneel. And then they'd all stand up and sing, and I'd sing, but I didn't know any of the songs. And they'd pray, and I'd pray, and it was all a ritual. But I did get one clear message from the Catholics, and that was that if I kept thinking about sex, I would burn in hell forever. I met a kid at school. He said, you should come on over to our church. They were Baptists, Southern Baptists. So I went over to their church, and, you know, they spoke colloquial English, and their church was bright and sunny, and the Catholic was all dark and gloomy. And I said, oh, this is all right, you know, and they seemed real spirited. They were real happy to be there, and they said, well, you can get saved here, and you won't have to burn in hell for thinking about girls, masturbation, that kind of stuff. And they saved me. I was saved in front of a couple thousand people. The man put his hand on my forehead, and I wept, and I was cleansed, and I accepted Jesus Christ. And I was just so happy. It was just, life was going to be fabulous. And a couple weeks later, I started thinking about sex. And I went to my friend Tommy. I said, what's the deal? I thought I was saved. I thought Jesus took this away from me, and I was going to be all right. And he said, well, it's called backsliding. It doesn't matter. You're saved now. It doesn't matter. I said, it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter? Well, if that doesn't matter, then none of this matters. And I got real mad. And I realized that I was betrayed. I've been betrayed. And then here I am, 50 years old, in a hospital, suffering from alcoholism, and trying to find a power greater than me with the spiritual understanding of a betrayed 9-year-old boy. 9-year-old boy who was just told in no uncertain terms, there's nothing out there. There's nothing else. And I had a chance, because of willingness, because of an open mind, to realize that prayer had not betrayed me. Spirituality hadn't betrayed me. Faith had not betrayed me. God had not betrayed me. Just religion. Religion had betrayed me. And I was able to accept the idea of a power greater than me that could help me do the things I can't do by myself. There's a lot to learn in Alcoholics Anonymous. Sometimes I think of it as a postgraduate course in living. And if you're new and you hear a lot of vocabulary around here, man, it takes a minute or two for it to sink in. But hang with it, because that vocabulary defines my life for me. And today, you know, I'm an alcoholic, and I know what's wrong with me, and I know what to do about it. And I know that if I live by the principles of the 12 steps with a power greater than me, then I can treat my alcoholism in the day I'm in. I can only treat it in the day I'm in. I can't save it up for next week. Next week, I'm really going to get sobriety. Next week, I'm really going to read all these books, and next week, I'm going to have it dialed. It doesn't work like that. We get a daily reprieve based on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. I get a daily reprieve based on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. So, I have to go to work now. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk about alcoholism with you and the program of recovery here in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's great to be here and see Patty and Dave and Nasser and Jim and Mike, and these are all the people that I met in this room that, you know, we say principles before personalities, but I go to the personalities to learn the principles. And I see people around here that I think are happy, joyous, and free, and I want to be like them. I want to be like Bob Timmons. Bob Timmons is a man that walks with God, in my opinion. And he's helped me, and he's helped hundreds and hundreds of other people. And he's a living example of the fellowship and the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm grateful to have him and all of you in my life. God bless you, and thank you.